Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we are reviewing Legendary Tales, and to be clear, I haven't completed it. The developers told me this game was like 11 to 12 hours, but honestly, I think I've done around 10 to 11 and I'm not even 30% through it. And there's a couple of reasons for this. One, there's a lot to learn, and two, the game is exhausting. It literally is possibly the most physical game I've played on PCVR and PSVR2. Now, to be clear, this video is all PSVR2. I have played it on PC and I will be playing it again on PC for a VHaptics video, because if you've got VHaptics, that's good news. Support is coming for that. And also, I'm sure most of you know this, but VHaptics is also coming to PSVR2. So that's going to be pretty cool. So hopefully games like this get that support as well. But anyway, on to my review of Legendary Tales. And first, I'm going to start with the negatives, which is a bit of a reverse thing for me to do on the channel, but I'm going to start with the negatives. Firstly, as I stated, there's a lot to learn. Now, I had to ask the developer a lot of questions. The tutorial does teach you the very basic stuff, but you will be left with lots of questions like how to smith, where to go next, how to spend gold, how to fast travel, how to use the portal system. There is so many questions that came up for me playing this. But as I slowly got the answers, I really am enjoying it. It's a fantastic game. I know this is going to be... I know I said I'd do the negatives, but it's a really good game. It's got a real physical presence to it that not all VR games have. Like, everything's got weight, everything's solid. And if you haven't played something like Boneworks, for example, or Blade and Sorcery, that's the sort of mechanics you're dealing with here. And the other negative, I guess, is the price. The price is a lot. Coming in at $55, this is not a cheap game, and I'm fully aware of that going into this review, and that's why I needed to state that I haven't finished it. So aside from the game genuinely being probably one of the most hardest games in recent times for me to just pick up and play, I feel there's a lot of reward to that. Now, recently I played a game called Lies of P. I have played Demon's Souls as well. When you come across games like that, that's kind of what Legendary Tales is, but this has got online 4-player co-op as well. And when you co-op with someone, the game dynamic completely changes. Now, personally, I actually like playing this on my own. I think it's pretty cool on my own, because there's like a bit of an atmosphere to it. You feel like you're on a mission. You know, this is your mission, your story. But playing it in co-op is super good fun. And you can also give other adventurers items, for example, that you picked up. But these weapons are bound by leveling. So sure, you can give them, say, a level 15 sword, even though they're a level 5, but they won't be able to use it until they are level 15. And as I said, I do have an issue with, like, there's no map. So, for example, there was one mission which said you need to go to the collapsed cathedral. Like, literally, I had to just walk around looking for something that may be a collapsed cathedral. And then eventually I found a door that told me this is the way to the collapsed cathedral. So there's a lot of walking until you get the fast travel system down. So just to explain that quickly, if you're in the open world, which is basically like the campsite where you always start, anytime you drop a portal, and you do have to drop them physically yourself, that you'll go back to the campsite. There's also fast travel icons that you step on. That will then take you also back to the campsite. But once you go into a dungeon, all fast travel points in that dungeon will only take you back to the entrance of the dungeon. So that's something I had to kind of get used to. But on the flip side, it's actually quite a good system, because if you know there's an upcoming like mid-level boss or boss fight, you can drop a portal, and then when you die, you need to go back and get your stuff. If you die while trying to get your stuff, you would have lost your current loadout forever. Now, trust me, in games like this, with the items you collect in this game and the amount of physical work, that's the difference. In games like Bloodborne and Demon's Souls and Lies of P, like, you're pressing buttons, and that can be frustrating enough when you lose stuff. Let alone the amount of physical injury I've actually had playing this game. I twisted my ankle, I hurt my back. I burnt over 2,000 calories. Yes, that was the tweet I put out the other day. But I've had such a great time playing this. So that's kind of my overview of the game. I'm going to quickly go on to gameplay. Now, one of the best things about this game is most games have like a parry system. But in this game, you actually have to physically hit the parry. Do you know what I'm saying? You have to put force into it. If you don't swing something hard enough, or stab it hard enough, or hit them with a club hard enough, or bash them with a shield hard enough, it just doesn't do that much damage. So when it comes to parrying, you really want to just not block the attack, you actually want to give it a really good hit. The reason this game is very like Lies of P and games like that is these bosses have 3 or 4 different hit combos that you'll have to learn, and it really depends on what your loadout is. For example, I eventually found a legendary shield, and it was quite a sizable shield, and that was good. And then I used a trident. I was tending to basically do like a 300 stance, you know, the shield's in front of you and you're attacking over the top of the shield. That really helps. But until I got that shield, I was really struggling with some of these mid-level bosses, because some of their attacks, they go for your feet. Like, this is a super active game. I don't really think anyone can play this seated either. Like, this game would not be for just anyone to play. You need quite an open space. I've got 2 meters by 2 meters, and I was still finding myself walking around the room, hitting things. But overall, they're not really complaints. It's kind of to its credit. Like, this game is a demanding game, and also it's got hours of gameplay. To me, it's ticking a lot of boxes that I really like. I might even make a tips and tricks video for this game. I'm not sure, because I've learned quite a lot, and I kind of feel that you guys would definitely benefit from not going in this game blind. I need to see what time I've got, because if I get this review done today, then I can probably make that video tomorrow if you guys want it. Like, let me know down in the comments if that would help. Yeah, there's just so much to learn in this game, and I just wanted to really emphasize that. But the action is simple, and as the game starts, like, it's easy enough to just go into this game and start hacking and slashing, and that will earn you experience points. So there is leveling in this game, and I really like that. I love the idea of XP and leveling in games. But as you progress through the game, dungeons get harder, and then you'll start needing to strategize. You'll really start needing to look at your inventory, what you've got, what you need to sell, what you need to equip. There's like campfires at each base, and that's where you can heal yourself and get back your dash ability. Now, to be fair, this game would definitely benefit from a run system. You can't run in this game. You can only dash, and you can only dash a certain number of times. It's very strict on what it wants you not to do. So I do kind of wish that they were a little bit more free with the dash and stuff, because I wanted to use the dash in a fight, but you'd only get like 3 times you can do it. So anyway, on to one of the best bits about this game. I need to put this into 2 categories. So first of all, I want to talk about the graphics of the game, not how the headset does it, just the graphical presentation of the game. It does look nearly as good as PC. It's close. It's not quite there, but it's very close. I would say the world looks a little bit basic. There is mist, but it looks good enough. Like, you won't be thinking, God, this game looks rubbish. I think on PC it definitely looked a little bit nicer from memory, but it looks fine. It looks good. It looks solid. Everything is definitely solid. And also, if a weapon does just so happen to fall through the world, it will end up back in your inventory anyway, so don't worry about that. But these guys have gone to extraordinary lengths to prove how to make PSVR2 games look good, and that is using dynamic foveated rendering. So in the review build I got, I was allowed to turn dynamic foveated rendering on and off. And I can tell you right now, the games that we've had in the past that don't look very good, that is possibly the biggest reason developers aren't using dynamic foveated rendering. Now, what they said to me was, this game can run at 120 Hertz, but because the game is a 4-player co-op and you've got all like the particle damage and sparks and lots of enemies on screen, then they basically locked it to 90 just to give it that awesome like solid frame rate. And I actually think that's fine. Like, I think the game looks really good, but honestly, dynamic foveated rendering makes all the difference. This game looks incredibly sharp, and I've definitely got no complaints in that area. Armor, weapons, that all looks great. Characters and your friends' characters will look brilliant. It's only really like, I guess the skeletons look good, the goblins look okay, you know, the zombies look all right. Like, nothing else really wows you, but it all looks solid and it all feels really good to play. I mean, there's all sorts of things you're going to come across in this game as well, like chests that try to attack you. Suddenly I was just scared of opening them. There's bats that just really piss you off in the middle of a fight. And I haven't even seen the full amount of enemies. There's no way. I don't know what's going to be ahead of me in this game, but I'm definitely going to keep playing it. I'm very much enjoying it, and the only reason I've stopped playing it is to make this video, because the editing does take some time. So, on to my review. Should you buy Legendary Tales for $54.99? It is a lot of money, but I do feel with what's on offer and the amount of gameplay, I would guess, let's say you play this single player, I would guess you're looking at 20 plus hours, because you can put as much effort into this as you want. If you really want to get into like the crafting system, the smithing, enhancing your own weapons and stuff, that's all here. I think for that reason, the replayability of this game is pretty huge. And then obviously, you've got the online part of this game as well, 4-player co-op. There's not many games that give you 4-player co-op in VR, and it's just great. It's just such a good game. Would I have paid $55 for it without seeing any reviews? No, because I do think that's a lot of money. But now I've played it and I've spent over like 10 hours in this. I do think this is going to be one of the best games, one of the best selling games on PSVR 2. It really is like the Demon's Souls, Bloodborne, Lies of P kind of game that people are looking for in VR. And The main reason for that is the physicality of it. It's an extraordinarily physical game. You really need to work very hard. And I imagine some of you haven't played Blades of Sorcery, and I imagine some of you haven't played Boneworks or Bone Lab. So I think you're going to actually be in for quite a shock how real things are going to feel. The other thing as well, just to quickly note, when you grab a weapon and you want to move your hands on it, there's no hold in this game. There's a toggle grip. And to explain what that is, in case you don't know, when you press a button, you hold something. When you press it again, it lets go. So if you want to say you pull your sword out and it's facing the wrong way, you would, for example, normally just let go of the grip button, spin it and grab it again. In this game, you can't really do that without some practice because it's toggle grip. But one thing you need to know is when you're holding a weapon, if you then pull the trigger, you can slide your hands up and down the item. So when you're using something like an axe, a very big axe or a broadsword, you can grip it with both hands and then you can slide using the triggers up and down the weapon to where you want to hold it. But yeah, overall, hopefully that's helped you. Let me know if you do want a full tips and tricks video. I probably will make one if I get some time. It definitely gets a buy recommendation from me and a massive thumbs up. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, remember to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next one.